Well, set 1 was interesting with Team AI and Allegiance splitting, but now it's time for set 2 here. Noble versus eUnited, Tolly, and Noble coming off the back of the fact that they beat ALG earlier on this week.
And eUnited is struggling a little bit. Both of these two teams in the middle of the pack trying to qualify to Valencia, and with both AI and Allegiance splitting earlier on, it gives these two teams a little bit of hope moving on.
Definitely, it's going to be a very important game for these two. Obviously, looking to try and get themselves towards Valencia at the moment, especially with limited spots on the line here. North America, I'm pretty much sure I can say LG's in the running for that, almost guaranteed. Other teams, not so much.
Depending on how they do against Flashpoint, and then weeks number 4 and 5. There's 4 teams right now. Well, I'm sorry. 3 teams tied at 7 points now. Allegiance just getting that 1 point. So eUnited, they need to figure out how to join that elite club.
And it's very interesting this because these two compositions, these two teams have evolved over this split as well. Obviously, eUnited made a couple of changes here. PayneDV on bench, PolarBearMike brought in. Then you've got Noble, who've had a lot of changes too.
Noble did have some changes here in the jungle and that solo lane. You're looking at Skeeledon and Aquarius for Noble. They've been making the necessary adjustments in filling their role and identity for Noble. Wubbn and Wowy out of that duel lane has also been doing quite a bit of work.
Well, let's see what that dual lane can do as we get into picks and bans now between these two teams. Obviously, the most important telling part is what the bans are going to be here. eUnited will be the first pick, which gives Noble 2 priority picks, potentially, if some things are left open from the banning phase.
Not only do they have those 2 first picks, Noble also has that very important last pick if they want to find a counter matchup in the solo lane, potentially for Aquarius against Benji. But thus far, Bologna getting taken off the table. Osiris could be
left
looked
open.
at.
Yeah,
yep.
Circuit will be banned by Noble instead of the Osiris. Is Osiris still really strong right now, Tolly, even with the small death toll changes?
The thing about Osiris is, even without the death toll changes, he's always going to be looking to play aggressive. There's not too many guys that can stop his early game aggression. You're forcing your team in a situation, or the enemy team, where they have to commit their jungler to sit in that solo lane just to stop that early game aggression.
And it's always, I guess, a little bit risky to maybe look at someone running like someone like Amaterasu, maybe someone a little bit more late game, because if you get behind early on, it's a struggle to try and get back in.
That's true. You want to try to fight fire with fire. If you're not going to win the early game, you might as well try to win the late game with Amaterasu. We haven't really seen that many styles where you put yourself in a deliberately losing matchup trying to out team fight the opposition.
Well, Terra Sol locked in to go alongside that Osiris for eUnited. Noble, though, went with the Khepri pick and the Thoth, so they went for big damage alongside the Ho-Yi. Now with Thoth and Ho-Yi locked in, but Khepri for the revivability, the survival on the back line, being able to peel for them. They need some frontline engage, though.
That's true. They do need that frontline engage, but Khepri could look for the engage himself, but if he uses those abilities offensively, he's not going to have the peel in the backline like you mentioned. Ho-Yi, though, could look for the self-peel. You throw the Suns on the team fight, it's going to be slowing everybody down.
But up against a Sol, very tricky to gank her in the mid lane, so it's going to be interesting where Noble go in the jungle this game, what they'll look for Skeeledon to take. Susano banned away, which is one of his major go-tos, but he's not afraid of running unusual. As I say that, he locks in Bastet.
Bastet is not a guy that I'm normally correlate Skeeledon with. Normally I think of, DJ Pernicus or Veriziel as well, but taking that, maybe there's a strategy from Noble to take that away from Veriziel. And
Veriziel going to go to Ravana then instead. So actually, I feel Ravana's a bit more of a priority pick over Bastet here, Totally. Slips through the banning phase in both sections. And in the end, eUnited like, well, if that's going to be a scrap piece that's left on the table for us in the jungle, we'll take it.
Well, the thing is, eUnited got a pretty much dream composition the way they want to run it, between this Ravana, Osiris, tanky frontline presence, Terra for the sustain, Cupid for the sustain. Sol is very tricky to kind of lock down with her disapparate, and eUnited should have a great time in these team fights once they get to that mid game.
It's going to be Hercules going to be up against that Osiris in the solo lane. How's Hercules going to do here? Obviously, I'm expecting bullied early.
More than likely, it's going to be a little dance of Osiris versus Hercules, where Osiris is going to try to juke out the pull-push combination. Hercules is going to have to make the decision between either clearing the wave or trying to go for some poke.
Very, very interesting matchup this, especially with the Ravana, who's very strong in the early game, but from the jungle position, you don't see too much pressure from the Ravana. It's mainly farm focus until mid-game. Get a couple of items online. Opposite, though, for Skeeledon in the jungle playing this Bastet.
Trying to look for some interesting options with these relics. 3 Aegises on the side of eUnited, really respecting the damage potential coming out of MLC Stealth. On the flip side, you have 2 Aegises out of Noble there. Already an early relic being used by Wubbn, trying to clear this wave.
Yeah, he's just trying to get the frenzy off just as quick as possible to be able to clear the wave even faster. Head back to your own jungle, secure your buffs. Not even looking for the invade here, but talking about invades, Benji being pressured, but with the Bombers will sustain back up in the Death's Toll. And now it could be a 2v3 at the speed buff.
Ravana hitting level 2 alongside Khaos. Having to disengage here is Noble, needing to find the root. Not going to connect, but the double slow.
Double slow is going to be enough to bring down Aquarius there. I like the backstep from Aquarius, but the bad news was the collapse was just too good. I feel Noble hung around a little bit too long at that speed buff toll, and they got heavily punished for it.
And this is the power of Bumba's mask, being able to just clear buffs at a quicker rate than opponents can clear the wave and then look for the invade. Benji knew the timing window that he had to be able to secure that buff and not have to worry about any shenanigans out of Noble.
Well, mistake made at the Oracles there as eUnited end up leaving one behind by mistake after the heart bomb. So Noble will be happy enough to share that with their opposition here. Khaos in the mid lane on this soul, already got that first stack toll, so the first kill, that extra first blood is going to get his boots online just a little bit quicker.
Look what eUnited is doing though in the duel lane, freezing the wave right under their tier 1 tower. This is going to force Noble in a situation where they have to commit pretty heavily under this tower, trying to find any sort of experience.
And against a composition like this, Cupid and Terra, you don't want to overextend too far, because the damage potential from Cupid and the Terra combination of the CC chain, so strong.
This is the kind of patience you need to see out of your teammates whenever you get behind based off of a great start that Noble had by finding the frenzy off of the first wave. You're able to slow things down at your own pace by freezing that wave.
Wubbn took a lot of pressure, and PandaCat still wants a little bit more, but Worry's like, what are you doing? Get away from my support. And in the end, PandaCat forced back after taking more damage than he would have liked to.
Still gonna find some sustain off of those hearts, gonna be able to spam that any which way he really wants to, and with PolarBearMike having that monolith for sustain as well, it makes it an ideal trade for eUnited at the moment until maybe Skeeledon turns the tides.
Well, with how aggressive eUnited's been in this duo lane now, not surprising to see Skeeledon sneaking his way over here. Obviously against a Sol in the mid lane, it's not easy to get that dot damage off, but against a duo lane like this, there could be a chance for some pressure. Just a little bit too late on that one, bit telegraphed, I guess, from Noble.
Yeah, and it was also great positioning out of eUnited by hugging the left side wall furthest away from the jungle entrance. So therefore, whenever any gank happens, whether it's the jungler or the mid, you're going to see it coming from a mile away.
Well, Aquarius has already died once, and driving strikes him straight back to the tower as soon as Barizio shows his face.
He found the pull actually onto Benji, but he didn't want to commit the timing that it would have took to find the driving strike onto Osiris back under the tier 1 tower with Barizio right around the corner. They could have dove that tier 1 tower for the kill.
Could have been awkward there. Wubbn going to come back towards this lane. PandaCat and PolarBearMike both still here, however. PandaCat now hits level 5 alongside PolarBearMike, and this is where the ultimates can start coming into play for both teams.
Nice little route onto Skeeledon, forcing that jump, and that could be one small window of an opportunity to look for another kill, but instead going to farm out the midway, forcing both members out of Noble back in contention. Really slow game after that one initial kill here, but Noble are on the worst end of it, currently down about 1,000 gold.
Yeah, no real invades coming out since Noble were the first ones to be the ones aggressing with the invade. Getting Aquarius picked early on, it's kind of slowed down what Noble may have been looking for, using that Bastet, using that Hercules to try and potentially bully out the right-hand side of the map. But against Osiris and Ravana, that's no easy task.
And eUnited are comfortable about waiting for Noble to pull the trigger first and then look for the counter engages whenever they can.
Sure.
Because of their team composition, they want to team fight around the mid-game, utilize the sustain from Terra, Cupid, and then once these defensive items from both Benji and Barizio get online, that's when I'm expecting eUnited to start doing a 5-man grouping.
Well, it's always been interesting to watch eUnited develop. After PandaCat leaving, they brought in PolarBearMike, who had his time in the sun on teams like Eager, now known as Team AI, and joining after PandaCat was removed from this team, with members from 2 different versions of Pain's teams here mixed together to potentially create some sort of super eUnited team.
A little bit of an aggression on that solo lane, but this super team that you were talking about for eUnited, it's looking like it's working out thus far, at least. They've been able to beat out AI, but losing to ALG for eUnited shows slight inconsistency, but they only played 3 sets thus far in the SPL Summer Split.
Yeah, I really feel it's just LG, the ones who are the furthest forward. Skeeledon took a lot more damage than he needed to. I don't know what he was doing. Whatever he was looking at, it wasn't the game, it felt to me. He already wasted his ages, danced around around like a weirdo and ends up falling down. Wubbn, though, now in trouble too, trying to get out of the bad situation, but eUnited just punishing the mistake heavily there.
Supernova waiting for the revive. Unfortunately, Noble, they were in the right place. They're in their own jungle. It's not like they're in no man's land. This is where they're controlled that side of the map, but it's just eUnited grouping up in a better spot. Skeeledon just getting collapsed on too heavily without his teammates backing him up.
I'm just not sure if it was mainly Skeeledon was hanging around there. He didn't get support from his team. No Khepri ultimate really came out there when it was potentially available from Wubbn. Aquarius kind of sat in lane as well. I guess there was minions to farm. Looked very, very awkward for Noble.
Benji poked him out a little bit as well in that solo lane, so it was very easy for all these little steps along the way to find the kill at the end of the day, with Variziel finding that nice Mystic Rush just to topple it all off. eUnited now with 3 kills at the 6-minute mark, doing a great job finding these little holes to exploit.
Now, Tony, when we used to see Bastet back in the meta days of previous seasons, it was down to split push possibilities that could come out if you were behind or even ahead. Could we see some split push still happen from a Bastet, even though the cats don't remove those backdoor protections?
It depends who accompanies him now, because the tower shred potential from Skeeledon won't be purely evident up until he completes the whole maze tree. You get all the penetration, and then you can look for the split push. But unless he finds maybe Wowy alongside him, then he won't have to wait that late in the game. I'm not counting Noble out, though, this early in the game. Split push, whether you're behind or not, is still a viable strategy, even from ahead.
Definitely. Well, PandaCat going to start up the red buff for himself. It's warded up by Noble here. They may look to try and cause a couple of problems, especially with a Bastet who can pounce over, and the steals over the wall that could come out. But the pounce is actually onto PandaCat. With Wowy collapsing in, Panda's in a lot of trouble here, and the ultimate will not keep him alive. Unfortunately, PandaCat's already dead.
But that's a lot of ultimates being used just for that one pickoff. They need to find something in return to avenge his fallen brethren, but not going to chase that down. Just getting their own purple buff instead.
Love that pick from Noble. Honestly, they've had a couple of issues in their own jungle, and last time they looked to invade was the speed buff where they lost a kill. Instead, they pick up PandaCat for free. Not only that, cause a lot of more problems for the escape as eUnited just can't rally in time.
I'm not sure if Terra's Blessing wasn't available or whatnot, but I feel like that could have been used during that encounter, whether or not to save PandaCat's life or just to chase down the overextended members out of Noble.
Well, even though eUnited just lost a kill, it's eUnited on the offensive here, looking to take away the speed buff and do so. Give it over towards Variziel. 3 members in mid, but it's 4 members from Noble swinging around here too. Keep an eye on Wowy, who was looking at the back half. He's on that pull on PolarBearMike. It could be go time.
The frenzy was popped after the final judgment already. Terra's Blessing trying to retreat. Now eUnited recognize they have a small window here without that final judgment and no man on stealth. Makes it easier to just flip it on its head.
Tell you what, Wowy's in a bit of trouble then for a second until he leaped away. Very close for the CC chain to be perfect, where eUnited could have found themselves a kill. PandaCat on the left-hand side with Wowy's rotation did push a full minion wave into tower, and with Wowy and Noble not getting any kills in the mid lane there, Toli, it's a small win for eUnited in the duo lane.
Small win whenever you can find it, and going to capitalize with a blue buff invade. Aquarius just has to be that unfortunate spectator from the sidelines that's just witnessing his blue buff repeatedly taken away from him. And as a Hercules, it's not the end of the world if you lose your blue buff, if your team can respond like this.
Well, PandaCat's coming round, has his ultimate available. Fields of Love it down. Gold Fury pulled out of the Fields of Love. Sun still raining. Skeeledon still tanking, and they'll get the Gold Fury. In comes Variziel looking for the Kitty Cat, and the Kitty Cat drops down dead. Wowy could be the next on the list too, as now that PolarBearMike and Benji are here. Wowy falls 2 kills for Gold Fury.
9-minute Gold Fury coming out of Noble. It was a great timing because Aquarius needed some sort of response to alleviate pressure from his side of the map, and what better way to do so than the Gold Fury. We see Noble definitely practicing this very consistently, but unfortunately they didn't have much mana to be able to retreat after the fact. Losing 2 members gives eUnited the opportunity to get this tier 1 mid.
Yeah, MLC Stealth doing his best to try and defend this mid lane tower, but on his own he can't stop the might of Noble, which does answer back that Gold Fury, Toli, which continues to give eUnited this lead.
And a 9-minute tier 1 mid tower is almost equivalent, not necessarily gold-wise to the Gold Fury, but just tactically, the map positioning that you get from not being able to retreat under your tier 1 mid tower before you have second relics anyway, allows eUnited to just push up, and they have a safety net of their tier 1 of their own.
Benji on the right-hand side, gonna get hit by the driving strike. Tether's already on cooldown here with Skeeledon just looking to poke them out, but pounces away from Variziel coming in. Earthbreaker from Aquarius connects, but he doesn't really want to take this on. Skeeledon isn't really interested in this fight anymore, especially knowing knowing PolarBearMike could already use the ultimate for the go.
Terra's Blessing takes quite a long time of a duration, so wanting to wait that one out. Skeeledon just comfortable under that tier 1 tower, sitting at level 9, 2 levels behind Verizial, so he's not going to want to team fight anytime soon, especially with Verizial going for a very nice power spike item against this Bastet in form of the Winged Blade.
Well, speed buff is about to spawn again for Noble, and eUnited may be feeling like they could look towards this, or if Noble send too many members there, Tolly, they could start this Portal Demon.
It's very possible that they could do so. They have Khaos playing the Soul, but they don't have PandaCat on the right side of the map. Left side, we're going to see a lot of aggression towards the speed and the blue buff out of Noble.
Yeah, a bit of a dance between the two. Buff goes down the way of, the way of eUnited here, but the burst onto Skeeledon is going to make him forced out. Aquarius being collapsed on by the Lord of the Afterlife from Benji, and the route in place from Wubbn is good. The ultimate's even better to keep Aquarius alive. The boulder double tap. It was so close, but Verizial's overhead kick will keep him alive, and Aquarius falls down to Benji.
Benji doing a great job finding at least one pick in that little encounter. The aggression from eUnited is just not stopping, and the damage out of stealth there. He's trying to follow up off of Wubbn's abduct, but the damage just isn't in full effect. It's only level 11 Thoth with pen boots right now working on this book of Thoth.
Well, what a great lead for eUnited. This is starting to become here. Portal Demon now going to go the way of eUnited too. So the gold lead is stretching to just under 3,000 as it stands, or 2.5 as the Oracles go the way of Noble. Going back to the mid lane though, Tolly, it's one of the reasons you see that invade being so successful was the fact Thoth, Stealth's got to play this so safe in the lane with no tier 1 tower to fall back to. You siege him from the tier 2 every time.
That's true, but the coordination from Noble just doesn't seem that it's working out here. Every single time the engage happens, abduct happens, final judgment happens, and then after the final judgment, the girdle gets popped by Wubbn, so it's kind of a wasted opportunity here from Stealth by not getting that full effect of the girdle.
It's still a learning time though for Noble, Tolly, especially with the Aquarius, and on top of that, they've also had Skeeledon join them. Skeeledon still under pressure by Verizial here. Verizial has his ultimate available, but couldn't get in range for the pounce. Has to respect Wowy until Wowy leaps away. Suns are down. Verizial going to Aegis away from the Suns. Juke around, but he's taking 3 damage from those minions. Cameraman, please, I want to see if he lives. Wowy's still getting punched in the face, still boxing out against Verizial. But the heals coming through from PolarBearMike as well with the Terra's Blessing. And now Benji here. Wowy could have been baited. His leap should be up soon. Is it up soon enough?
He needs to find it, but Lord of the Afterlife will be waiting for him. Nice stun from Stealth to buy him some time. Thorns being used as well. Not going to connect on the flail, and that could spell a little bit of trouble here if Stealth can catch up to give Skeeledon an opportunity to clean up.
Benji has rotated all the way over. In comes Stealth with a stun, and the damage is okay. Tether going to reduce some of that and reduce some damage back. Skeeledon is back in the fray again, looking for the bleed after the declaw, but the declaw not connecting allows Benji to escape.
So unfortunate here for Noble not finding the kill onto Benji for 2 reasons. The first one was the fact that Benji hits Stealth with the flail, which not only slows Stealth but amplifies the speed of the Osiris. And not only that, Skeeledon missing his slow from the distance, not connecting on the kitties either.
Made a mistake here. Aegis will absorb the Fields of Love. Not the heart bomb of the burst coming out with the rest of the team. A little bit overextended by Stealth there, not respecting eUnited, coming back towards that duo lane, just trying to pick up some farm and gets punished for it.
Just hashtag one more wave, showing why sometimes it's not a bad idea to just let the wave go. You have to allow your hunter to go back into the lane anyway, so what's the point of the mid laner being there?
Stealth knew what was going on. He's like, you know what? If I stay for this wave, I'll have my Book of Thoth online.
That's true.
So that's what he went for. It's like, it's worth me dying to get Book of Thoth.
If that was the actual power spike, then I don't necessarily mind it. Golf here being started, though, this time by eUnited. Suns come down, so it's going to find a reset. Verizial trying to find Wubbn, maybe forcing out an early ultimate.
Good walls coming from PolarBearMike to keep the hug bug in place. Ult used on himself. Wubbn still looking for an escape route. Gonna get rooted instead. Dash back to the safety of his tower. It's Kitty Cat that's in trouble, though, and has to pounce. Supernova. It wasn't much of a supernova at all. That was just more like a black hole of nothingness.
And the problem with Khaos playing the Soul here, whenever you use Supernova, you have a lot of time to aim it, but if you want to just get it off as quickly as possible to continue in-handing, you just flick your mouse like the way he did. Your whole goal as Soul is to find the first tick only, because the first tick is the initial knock-up, and then the rest of the damage will follow up anyway. That's what Khaos did. Skeeledon pounced during the same time. Unfortunate circumstances for Khaos.
Are you telling me Khaos is going to improve the flick of his wrist?
It's just Look at the flick of the wrist.
I know what I was saying. But yep, there's exactly that. Back Harpy's being done here at the same time by Virizion and Khaos joining in. 7-1 is the kill lead here, however. eUnited still up about 3,000 gold as it stands. The Gold Fury's up for the second time, though, and if Noble do secure that one like they did the last one, we're back to an even game again, Tom.
It could be possible for them to do it with Skeeledon playing this Bastet. Kitties are a great tool to use in terms of controlling these objectives, to not only do damage to these objectives, but to also tank it, to allow your allies the safety net that they need if there was a team fight, that they would still be healthy.
Yeah, healthy position is definitely what it's all about there. Skeeledon trying to get some of his own jungle here. Got his speed buff so far. Now going to pick up the blue buff. Give this over towards Aquarius. Benji won't be paying attention to that. However, eUnited looking towards the Gold Fury here.
This is their time to do it, but last time it was Wowy's sons that stopped it. Can he find it again?
Keep an eye on stealth. Final Judgment's charge cancelled out. Gold Fury reset. Terra's blessing used by PolarBearMike, and Virizion's going to dive straight in. Root stealth in place as well as his teammate in response. And the Lord of the Afterlife is there for Benji to pick up stealth. Still running away is Skeeledon with the ultimate out from Wubbn. Benji still wants to kill, though. All he takes is one more hit, but he may have just gone too far.
The root is good. Benji pops the thorns, but Wowy will find it here momentarily. Stun will buy Benji some time. Is he going to actually get out?
Aquarius, boulder to the face, round the corner. Nobody saw that one coming. Meanwhile, eUnited are still doing the Gold Fury while this is going on. The frontline tanks of eUnited are buying enough time to at least make this worthwhile for eUnited to keep the gold lead.
2 for 2, though. eUnited not only get the Gold Fury, but return the team fight still evenly matched here. Experience and gold still at their favor. They're pacing it up at an accelerated rate here, and Benji taking a spill there a little bit too far.
Oh, totally. Noble starting up the Portal Demon. Khaos and PolarBearMike, the only two here. Wubbn's the only last man not alive for Noble on this one. Mike's going to heal himself up, and with Aquarius here, it looks like eUnited are just going to give this one up. Or are they? Because PolarBearMike's like, no, they're committing to this. Noble, get the Portal Demon for 3. eUnited didn't like the idea of contesting that.
Very safe call also for Noble. They had Final Judgment available if they wanted to use it, but not even respecting the fact that eUnited had potential to steal. It was only really PBM around the corner, with Skeeledon doing a great job zoning Khaos away. Therefore, Stealth wasn't in danger of needing to use that ability.
Interesting choice coming out from PandaCat on this Cupid play at the moment as well. Look at his itemization. Normally you'd see penetration builds, power builds coming out from a Cupid. This time, going for the crit option. I guess that's just showing how strong crit can be here in certain situations.
Especially when eUnited keeps forcing these team fights. They already have 9 kills. If he goes into the rage here, he'll get those 5 stacks very quickly to get that extra 20% critical strike chance. And it's not like he doesn't already have some power or penetration. He has that executioner, which is going to be really effective here, considering Benji and Virizion, all they want to do is just stick on the backline.
Yeah, stick to the backline as best they can. That's all Benji and Virizion will do consistently, looking for mainly stealth, and if they can find Skeeledon as well, then so be it. But take stealth out of the equation, and it's only physical gods they're going to have to deal with.
But even with Executioner onto PandaCat, Benji and Virizion can still stay on any tanky frontliner because of all the protection shred that PandaCat's going to be able to do with that one single item. The abilities coming out of these 2 bruisers, warriors in the front line is just going to allow eUnited a lot of space control for Khaos and PandaCat to do whatever they really want.
Well, it's very important for Noble now to just try and secure their own jungle up, get some war coverage down, and that's exactly what they're doing here. A lot of sentries in their own half of the jungle, especially with the tier 1 tower being down in mid. Virizion and Benji still diving in against 4 alone here. A little bit risky, but they do have PolarBearMike and Khaos on the way.
Kitty's even used just to try to slow down Benji under that tier 2 tower. Stealth forced to retreat there with the ultimate expended from Wubbn.
Support for support ults down. Kitty Cat's also down for Skeeledon here. eUnited will not find anything in Noble's jungle to take away, as Aquarius will pick up his blue buff, but he's going to be careful about his positioning here up against 3, unless Noble want to take a fight 4v3 with Khaos hanging in the wings.
You say that, but I'm expecting Aquarius to want to try to find that pull push under that tier 2 tower. It's a great timing. Nice use of the boulder just for a little bit of CC immunity, but forcing everyone out from eUnited. Noble doing a good job holding their own.
Yeah, that call from eUnited to fall back there. Keep an eye on where Wowy was in the mid lane. You can see PandaCat clearly called that Wowy was missing from dual lane. So instead of panicking because they couldn't see him in mid, they were like, okay, just fall back in case. We don't want to take a full 5-on-4, especially when the Hunter could be there.
Wubbn gonna get stunned under his tier 1 tower. Triple pull, double knockback under that tier 1. Still trying to find the stun connect onto PBM, but not too much follow-up damage from there.
A little bit of damage, a little bit of panic, I should say, coming out from eUnited there. Good supernova from Khaos, though. Gonna push back Noble under the tower again as Benji tanks it up, rooted in place. Has to ult defensively. Viriziel's overhead kick and ultimate will get him away from the danger too. But Khaos could be in a bit of an awkward situation thanks to Aquarius and that Earthbreaker. PandaCat's here, though, and he's gonna get 2 if he's lucky. Only the 1 scratched that. Benji might be able to clean it up, but he's too busy trying to survive, and in the end, he falls down 2.
2 for 1. Noble finding the victory under that tier 1 tower, almost dying with Skeeledon with a sliver of his health pool. Great use of kiting, going back and forth under your tier 1 tower, and eUnited was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, finding this kind of aggression needs to be a little bit more calculated. In the jungle fights makes more sense, but when you're fighting that deep into Noble's territory, they can use that tier 1 tower as a 6th man.
That's very true indeed. And the one thing that I'm noticing in this game, other than the frenzy on Wubbn here, there's no Sunders involved, which means the tanks in the front line for eUnited are going to still be very strong. They're just going to time that frenzy as well, because to be fair, frenzy's fantastic against tanks for the extra damage that you're going to be able to put out.
Not only that, the extra attack speed that you get, it's going to be very easy to find some of these targets and kill them, especially these tanky ones here. Looking at some of the item choices here, Wowy even... I'm sorry, yeah, Wowy going for a more resilient itemization here.
Sure.
Shifter shield.
We see that quite a lot, though, nowadays in the Hunter role. It's basically a budget transcendence, as Taco likes to call it. Gives you all the benefits of transcendence in one angle of the power, and when you get low health, a little bit more survivability, especially when you're against 3 physicals that are going to be in your face all the time. It's not the worst idea in the world. Gold Fury started up by eUnited here. Keep an eye on stealth with the Judgment over the wall. Gold Fury reset. Final Judgment still alive. Fields of Love is down, but doesn't hit anyone. Skeeledon still taking the Gold Fury. He's going to force Wubbn to ult. Benji teleports him around the back, and Skeeledon's going to be careful about his positioning because he's going to get a foot to the face if he's not careful. Gold Fury still leashed by Noble, thinking they can take this on. Benji takes a lot more damage than he would like to. Skeeledon will get away from this fight, but Benji's already falling back, and on the way is Viriziel as the heals coming through from PandaCat and PolarBearMike.
This is when the sustain is going to take effect. Viriziel was at about 25% health after that team fight, already now at above 50%, and with Skeeledon poked out, this is going to be a 4-on-5 for eUnited's favor.
We might have to see some anti-heal coming out from Noble just to recognize that could become a problem as this game continues. Nice force from Mike, hitting up to Wowy, but a great Earthbreaker from Aquarius will make sure PandaCat is forced to use his beads defensively. Stealth, though, has been left alone again, and Viriziel and Benji really want to hunt him down. Stealth's position is good, gets away to the backline, and now eUnited a little bit overextended here in Noble's territory. Wowy's going to make Viriziel pay for his discretions, and Benji now could be in a bit of trouble. He's going to have to fall back for the sustain and the rest of his team to join in.
This is the one problem that eUnited are constantly doing. They're diving the backline, but they're doing it at different timings. Benji is doing it later on in the fight. Viriziel does it to start things off, which makes sense because of how much damage mitigation he gets from using that Mystic Rush, but it just wasn't a kill opportunity for him. The way Stealth was able to escape, there's so much of a gap closer when Thoth uses his dash through the curtain wall that he sets up for himself, and then Skeeledon getting away as well. Not only did he have speed buff, when you use the pounce, you get extra mobility, so it's very difficult to lock down this Bastet that also has a winged blade.
Well, keeping down the gold lead before eUnited. It slipped a little bit from where it used to be. It was up over 3,000 at one point. Only 1,800 now and 1,400 experience totally isn't much at 23 minutes in. We've got a pretty much even game here.
Pretty much. Noble are just making this game at a standstill. Despite finding the earlier Gold Fury at the 9-minute mark, eUnited respond in kind with a Gold Fury of their own, but this time Noble popping the frenzy for their second Gold Fury attempt.
Trying to burst it down real quick here. Totally Kitty Cat's it down, but so's the Fields of Love from PandaCat. Gold Fury goes the way of eUnited, and Panda giggles his way back to victory, steals it away with the Fields of Love. Love.
How does Fields of Love out damage Final Judgment? Stealth taking a lot of damage in the backline. Varizzle gonna dive that with the Terra's Blessing. Nice pull from Aquarius, but it's Benji diving the back.
Still looking for Stealth again, but Wubbn's just waiting with the ultimate, and he'll get Stealth back to safety. Ult used a little bit too early for me, but once again, eUnited are way too deep in enemy territory here. Skeeledon and Noble can keep recalling from base. In comes Skeeledon as the sun's dropped down, looking for the pick on Benji. Benji's the focus target. The boulder comes out too. Skeeledon pounces back to safety. Wubbn wants to keep giving chase. They want Benji from the solo lane, and they may be able to still get him.
Beautiful dash, beautiful route. It's Benji left alone, but where is the follow-up there? Everyone from Noble not wanting to force the issue. Benji's just going to run away.
Not enough of a bleed coming out from Skeeledon to find it. Their Stealth's a little bit too far forward this time again. Virio's going to push him back. Great ultimate Khaos. But once again, no follow-up. eUnited would rather fall back here than continue aggressing.
Great zoning from PBM on the right-hand side. Both of these frontliners between Benji and Varizzle put themselves in these sticky situations, and Noble just can't capitalize it off of it in that last encounter. I thought for sure Benji was dead at least in 3 different times.
There's just no slowdown in this set, Tully. He's just get fight. The
problem was also Aquarius's boulder didn't find the bounce that he really wanted to. It was a great boulder that hit Benji, and he was expecting it to keep rolling down that backside Harpy lane, but the unfortunate angle, it actually played back into Noble instead.
PolarBearMike is getting very low, but the Portal Demon goes to Noble! Stolen away! Stealth's in trouble though, Aegis has already been used! Gonna get tethered as well, so the stun's coming through soon, but he dashes away from the tether in time! Skeeledon picks up PolarBearMike, still have that fight still going on. Skeeledon now looking towards Khaos with the kitty cats doing work, the bleed too, the pounce is good, and Skeely gets a double! Panda's fighting against a Hercules, and you don't want to do that, especially with the cat just waiting in the wings to follow up. Varizzle's finally fallen back to try and support his carries in the back line, as Benji's been left alone against 3 now, and with Skeeledon coming back, Benji's surrounded.
The sun's even raining down for good measure. Wubbn gonna get stunned out here. Aquarius right around the corner. Benji has the ethereal form for the damage reduction, but it's not enough.
3 kills.
Portal Demon and 3 kills, greater than Gold Fury.
Not 100% certain who got that Portal Demon, but that was really important for Noble. Not just because, in fairness, that would have been an even trade. With a couple of kills lost for the Portal Demon, still an even game, but getting the Portal Demon totally means they can do this. Fire Giant straight away, and there's only PandaCat and 2 other members coming. Only 1 has an ultimate.
Aquarius trying to zone out with Wubbn on the front line. Stealth trying to do the damage. Skeeledon helps secure it with the pounce. Varizzle gets pulled back in with the abduct. Nice crits coming out of PandaCat, but the chase is on.
Great knockup from Wowy there, and there's a brace of undoing from Varizzle immediately after to sustain back to a healthy mark. Noble get the Fire Giant. They've caught up in kills. They were down like 7 or 8 kills at one point in this game. They were down in towers at one point, but the towers are about to be evened up.
I think it was 9-3 actually, about 5 minutes or so, but now Noble have been able to turn this game in their favor with this Fire Giant. That one Portal Demon attempt from eUnited was so close to being in their favor, and it wasn't even a big Final Judgment that was stolen by MLC Stealth. It was some other ability out of Noble, and that one little team fight. That's all you need in the later stages to win.
Varizzle and Mike were looking for the purple buff here. A little bit risky against a Fire Giant team. eUnited still feel they have a strong enough front line to continue fighting Noble. The sustain is the interesting thing now, because sustain's evened up because of the Fire Giant.
That's true. A Fire Giant does give you the sustain as well as an easier time to demolish some of these towers. So you're looking at this, the Fire Giant buff for sustain versus the sustain from PBM on the Monolith, PandaCat on the Hearts, and then some of the self-sustain from Khaos as well.
The pace has just not stopped. He's just continued to speed up. Noble waiting for the minions to come in here, but look at Aquarius. He doesn't care. He can tank for days right now. He may need to, because the wave clear from eUnited with that soul, very strong at stripping down the minions early on.
It's very easy to find the Stellar Burst. Kitty's being used here by Skeeledon. Nice pull. It's going to force out the beats out of PandaCat. In the backline, trying to engage is PBM, but going to reset under that tier 1 tower.
From Stealth. So much damage coming out from Stealth. Final Judgment charged, but that's just a warning sign to make sure eUnited realize, hey, we can't continue fighting this. We have to surrender the tier 2. They do waste a couple of minutes, though, which means the Fire Giant doesn't last as long for the rest of the Phoenixes, but there's still time.
But some defensive relics were used here from eUnited, specifically out of PandaCat. That beads is such an important tool. Terra's Blessing being used, trying to hold on to their tier 2 tower for a little bit longer. They will allow Noble to disengage for the moment.
But they use the ultimate and just wait it out. I think that's a good call from Noble and eUnited too, just to use it to get him away from the tier 2, force a reset. make everyone just back away and go, okay, let's start again.
Fire Giants still around their waist, though, for another minute and a half or so. Stellar Burst not on the mark. Noble are going to be all 5 grouped up down the mid lane. On the side, though, Verizio looking for a flank.
And Aquarius happy to tank up the tier 2 tower and allow Noble to pick it up. Noble won't push on for the tier 2 in the right-hand side here. They're heading for the Gold Fury, which is a safer, easier option to be looking to take.
Absolutely, because now, during the right side, if Noble had committed towards the right, eUnited could have just let that one go and go for the Gold Fury themselves, which would have basically evened out the game anyway. So that tier 2 tower is going to be standing. It's not going anywhere. It's stationary. That Gold Fury, if it's being left allowed for eUnited to take, then Noble don't get that opportunity.
And you can see now that's the first time that Noble have had the lead in this game at all. They've been behind eUnited since the start. That first kill onto Aquarius, Noble have been trailing consistently. And then after a couple of team fights, and it comes down to that Portal Demon fight, totally for me. Portal Demon fight into the kills afterwards that developed the Fire Giant on top of that, that set Noble up to be in the lead.
It's all just a trickle-down effect here for Noble to be able to come back into this game. A 7,000 total gold swing, 10 to 11,000 experience swing now after the fact, and eUnited need to figure out ways to hold on for a little bit longer.
Well, they're looking for a pick on Skeely if they can find, or at least a bit of pressure, mainly focused on clearing the waves out early before they get towards this tier 2 tower. Fire Giant is about to fall off of Noble too, and I think with that, Noble will be like, okay, we can't get the tier 2 in right here. We already got the Gold Fury. Portal Demons just spawned. Let's use the Fire Giant buff to maybe look at this Portal Demon.
Despite eUnited having pretty good mobility with that Terra's Blessing on PBM, there's a lot of self-mobility for Noble trying to escape from danger. Skeeledon has so much mobility with that pounce. Portal Demon getting taken by Noble here for the second time this game.
And eUnited did not want to aggress too hard there, especially with the remnants of the Fire Giant still being on Noble now. Noble looking at getting ward coverage around the jungle, mainly for the Fire Giant setup we're going to see, totally, because this corridor where Skeeledon stood and Benji stood there, that little narrow corridor is so important in this game.
It's very important for Skeeledon to just stay on the side and look for that poke from a distance, whereas Verizio, he can't really do the same. If he's seen, he's committing to a team fight. He is always looking to penetrate the backline with that Mystic Rush whenever he can, whereas Skeeledon is just waiting.
The one thing I've noticed in this game, though, Tolly, is PandaCat's crit build isn't really working out too well for him. If you look at the damage charts right now, he's not done a whole lot this game in terms of raw damage. Neither has Skeeledon to say that, but Verizio just got pulled, plucked, abducted, silenced, but the wall crush from PolarBearMike slows them down. Skeely pounced in and pounced straight back out after realizing he wasn't going to get anything else out of this. But it's go time for Noble. They start the Fire Giant.
Fire Giant already at 50% health, finding the pull yet again onto Benji. Terra's Blessing being used. A lot of damage onto Wubbn himself. Revival.
And meanwhile, that leaves Wowy exposed, and they're going to try and run down Wowy as well. Benji giving chase with Verizio too. Mike, Khaos, and PandaCat, they want the backline if they can find it. And Skeeledon's just trying to slow down Verizio as best he can. Peel for Wowy and Wubbn, who do get out of the fight. PolarBearMike against Aquarius, but this opportunity, this window that's been created for eUnited, they're starting up the Fire Giant, but Skeely is round the back.
He's trying to find PandaCat with Aquarius as well with the pincer maneuver. Stealth dashes in, finding the stun, the damage, forcing out the Aegis for PandaCat. Fire Giant less than 33% health. Skeeledon trying to survive for the moment.
Trouble. Stealth's in a lot of trouble. Stun in place. Has to beads and dash away back to safety. Wubbn with the root didn't find it. Now Skeeledon poking down Khaos as well. eUnited reset the Fire Giant themselves, so worried about Noble coming for the steal. You have to worry about Stealth with that long range damage. And obviously Skeeledon with the bleed damage can cause so many problems.
If Noble can't find a kill in the first 5 to 10 seconds of a team fight, they're not going to win it because of just all the sustain from PBM, and PandaCat is showing why this team composition works so well for their strategy. And we were talking about split pushing. Look at Skeeledon's positioning.
He was thinking about it, but it looks like he's going to go straight back to base instead here. I could see his idea behind it.
He could have went for it.
But I think it's a little bit too low health to really make a proper chance of doing that. Surprisingly enough, though, we didn't see him go for the teleport this game, which is one of the things you normally see from a Bastet.
That's more of
if they're looking for that.
That's more of a Verizio's kind of style than for Skeeledon. But despite all of that, we're seeing the fact that it wasn't necessarily just the health deficiency for Skeeledon is also the mana problems that he had. If he was going to use the kitties, he wouldn't have much mana to be able to pounce away after the fact.
Fire Giant started again by Noble, and Aquarius on zone duty, just looking for Earthbreakers every time he can. Driving, Strike, and Abduct used by Noble there too, and the Fields of Love dropped on both of them. Wubbn's in trouble. Aquarius gets ulted by Wubbn, so Aquarius is like, let's go, boys! Great Earthbreaker again as Skeely picks up Benji. Now it's PolarBearMike. He didn't really want to be there. I know he's going to be now in the fountain if he's not careful, but in goes Verizial to the backline. Multiple members of Noble are low. This fight is good for eUnited. PandaCat's going to fall down. The heal won't be there in time. Aquarius gets away with his life. Wubbn is dancing a death that he doesn't want. He's going to run. Verizial wants to give chase, and they should be able to bring someone down, but no! They turn around. Skeely looks for Khaos, pounces in, and there's the Stellar Burst that will secure the kill.
Aquarius!
He shoots him out. The speed buff to the rescue, and Aquarius back at full health means that Verizial's in trouble.
It's a 2 for 3. It's going to be a 2 for 4 if they can find Verizial. Nice little pull yet again onto the juggler. Skeeledon goes back in.
Oh no, no,
confidence.
Mike didn't see him. Whew. I thought PolarBearMike came around the corner. I was like, if he catches him there, he's going to die too. How many people died?
4 for 2.
Was it? Are you sure it was only 4 for 2?
Yeah, it was only 4 for 2.
I swear we had
PBM
respawns.
almost died as well. It was going to be a deicide there because PBM was the main focus for the original team fight, but he barely got out. He managed to get off his monolith, dashed through it, which rooted everybody in place, dashed away for the second time, and the team fight for Noble, the way they started, that little rock right there where PBM is, that's where Noble wanted a team fight. They want to throw down that final judgment and all the damage from Thoth in general.
Fire Giant started up again, but we've only Skeeledon and Wubbn on it. It's going to take a long time. Aquarius busy zoning PolarBearMike as Benji now turns up once again. Driving strike towards the Fire Giant, and Benji takes a lot more damage than they'd like to from those pulls coming out, but Stealth gets hit by the knock-up. That's going to hurt him a little bit too. Fire Giant still aggroed by Noble though. Aquarius still on zone duty, and with PandaCat and Wowy back, this could get deadly quickly. Fire Giant dropping lower, and gotta go the way of Noble.
Finally, Noble get their second Fire Giant. Stealth secures that with that final judgment. Terra's Blessing being used, but eUnited, they can't find the right angle to go into this team fight.
But they are going to look for the Portal Demon here, which will slow Noble's advance down for a second. Give him a bit of gold back. If they can get it in time is the question. Portal Demon's still low, and the Portal Demon goes the way of Noble. Stolen from eUnited again. Round the back comes Verizial to Stealth's face. Stealth needs some help. So does Wubbn. Wubbn revives himself. Stealth leaves. Wowy gets in the way of Verizial and pushes him in the face with so much damage. But still, Noble survive. Wowy picks up PandaCat. eUnited is still diving in to try and make it worthwhile. They'll find Wubbn. Skeeledon causing problems in the backside. The kitty pounces in place and then falls to his doom. It's a 2 for 1 in favor of eUnited.
Skeeledon had his dancing shoes on, but just not tight enough. Falling into place despite finding the Fire Giant. Losing 2 members, they're not really worth it here. PandaCat gets taken out here, but it's just not Noble coordinating well enough after the fact.
I don't know what happened since the last game of EU yesterday, but all of a sudden these games got a hell of a lot more entertaining.
Skeeledon, I feel like he didn't need to pounce in place onto
He could have left.
I think what he wanted to do was, he knew he was probably going to die because he didn't have many angles to pounce anyway because Benji was covering the tier 2 option. So I think what he wanted to do was pounce in place, get the scratchies off, and maybe find a double kill. And
if he finds the double kill, it's a highlight reel play.
Yeah,
you mess it up though, you give an advantage to your enemy team, and it's always going to be a little bit awkward. Noble have Fire Giant though on 3 people, and to be fair, if I had to choose 3 people to give it to, it would be those 3, even though Skeeledon won't be able to split push now. Oracle's gonna go the way of eUnited. Gold Fury slowly going down. Very early boulder from Aquarius. I don't know why he chose to do that, but hey-ho.
I don't think he had the vision around the Gold Furies, and if you don't have the vision, you can't really see the health bar from around the corner. You're just kind of guesstimating, like, okay, they've been on the Gold Fury for maybe about 6 seconds now, late game damage. This feels about the right timing.
Now, we mentioned Bastet earlier on the split push options, and you said wait for the full pen build to come online. That pen build's pretty much there.
This is the point in time, even with Shifter Shield giving you a lot of physical power for the scaling, those kitties will absolutely melt the towers despite not being able to eliminate the backdoor protections. This could be a strategy Skeeledon could look to exploit.
I'd actually like to see Noble maybe go to the left-hand lane here with the Fire Giant with 4 of them and send Skeeledon to the right-hand side to take a free tier 2 tower. There's no real stopping that unless they're going to use a teleport, which I don't think is necessarily worthwhile.
Or just go mid. Honestly, right? Because that mid Phoenix is exposed. That could be a nice little window here, but Skeeledon is grouped up with his teammates on the right side. we're going to see that Emperor's Armor defending it for a little bit longer.
A little bit of a faster tower shot coming out from that tier 2, but it's not going to last for long as the tier 2 is one hit from death. Just someone hit it, please. No, the tower stands, and in goes eUnited. Wowy leaps away, but jumps straight into an awkward place with the Fields of Love down. Still Veriziel and Benji, the Bruise Brothers on the front line for eUnited, whacking away as best they can. They don't go as deep this time, though, which allows Noble to escape, but it's wiser for the eUnited splitting apart.
Great route from Wubbn, just allow his teammates to escape there. A little bit of a disconnect out of Noble. Wow, he wanted to commit to that tier 2 tower. Stealth was just so far behind. He wanted no part of that action, and this allowed eUnited to just stall a little longer. And they're only going to lose their tier 2 on the right because the Fire Giant is about to expire in 20 seconds.
The second time. Benji, though, is a bit of an awkward spot here. No ultimate to get away. The Thorns will keep him standing. And to be fair, Noble just wanted the tier 2 tower. Eventually, they get it after the Fire Giant, and now the next Fire Giant contest is going to be another interesting endeavor between which one gets the advantage.
5,000 gold lead for Noble, but at the 40-minute mark, this is pretty much meaningless. You're looking at an extra red pot, purple pot consumable, 1 or 2 Sentry Wards for your teammates here, and the next Fire Giant is going to be the crucial factor for both of these teams.
You know it's a long game when support's a full build. That's all you ever need to know. When supports have managed to sell their starter items, you know it's a long game. And the next level of using that gold to real, fruition is getting those 3K pots, which we don't see too often these days, totally. Generally, games are average of around 27 to 32 minutes. We're in a 40-minute here, and the next Fire Giant is so important.
Well, it's even longer of a game if you complete any of your relics and upgrade it, because honestly, those 3K pots are very tempting here at this stage of the game, but sometimes it'll be a good idea to start upgrading these defensive relics just to mitigate some of their cooldowns.
Yeah, and some of those cooldowns will be reduced by upgrading them. Some of them will last a little bit longer. There's a lot of benefits to each one of them. It's just working out when. Do we reckon the Fire Giant fight straight away, or will we wait for the Portal Demon, do you reckon?
I think the Portal Demon is going to be Noble's intention here. They're looking for some poke around the distance. Final Judgment almost takes out PandaCat.
But PandaCat is still alive, and that's go time for both teams here. Noble looking to commit onto Khaos, who was the last damage dealer left. The sun's rained down from Wowy as Skeely pounces in for Panda 2. PolarBearMike now in trouble, has to wall off his escape route. Benji pinned in place, has his ultimate available. Noble are happy with this win so far, collapsing onto Benji, who's going to leap over the wall to safety. Skeely could have followed through if he wanted to, but the better call for Noble after 2 kills of the damage dealers go for the Fire Giants.
The damage from Stealth started that whole team fight in Noble's favor, almost taking out PandaCat's life to start things off. Khaos was a little too overextended afterwards, which allowed Skeeledon to just easily clean that up.
Paul Demon goes as well to Noble. The gold lead grows, and on the ability recap at the bottom, that's how close it was. Normally, it's one team on that ability recap, but it's actually a nice little mixture, I'd say, of players who used to be on the team and now on the team. At first, I thought it was 2 different teams. I'm like, wait a second, they've not won a Noble shirt before, so rip me.
Well, either way, they will be if they come to the DreamHack Valencia afterwards. This is what they're fighting for
right now, Tolly. I mean, let's look at this game 1 because it's still going. Noble are giving eUnited as good as they get, and eUnited were on the cusp of going themselves.
Well, they're sitting at 3 points right now, and after that victory from ALG, if they can win here against eUnited, and not only game 1 but game 2, they're still in the running.
Couple of abilities burned early on in this engagement before Stealth turned up. There's PandaCat, the Fields of Love. They really won't worry, but the Aegis absorbs so much damage. Heartburn will tick, but it's not going to get the stun off, so Wowy gets away to safety. Skeely bounces around the corner looking for Benji as it dashing in from PolarBearMike. Panda was too far forward yet again, and he's forced back to base one more time. And with the damage dealer of PandaCat down, the Phoenix will fall. Noble claim the first Phoenix of this game.
Just the sustain is not enough. Now the damage is on a line for Noble. Stealth is just able to burst everyone down so quickly. The hearts and the monolith sustain is just not enough to keep eUnited topped off. They have to retreat back under their own fountain, and giving up that middle Phoenix gives Noble finally the first efficient Fire Giant.
Gotta say, credit where it's due to MLC Stealth in the mid lane this game. His scoreline does not reflect his performance. He has been run down like a dog by Veriziel and Benji every single fight. He's 0-4. 46,000 player damage though, and 10 assists shows you how much of an impact he's made in this game.
He's almost 15,000 ahead of his opposition here, but whenever you're dove by both Osiris and a Ravana, it's not going to be a good time for you. So the fact that he only has 4 deaths at this stage of the game is quite impressive, actually.
A death every 10 minutes? That's not too bad, I guess. We'll see as this goes on, though. Fire Giant back.
He still didn't finish his build. I'm not sure if this is intentional or not for a stealth, but he still has that Sands of Time.
Well, it's an expensive build he went for there. Early ult used by Wubbn onto Stealth. Stealth's relics are both on cooldown. eUnited may look to go aggressive, knowing that Stealth's in trouble. Stealth dashes away from the Lord of the Afterlife and Benji. Skeeledon went too deep and pays with his life too. Mike gets picked up by Wowy, however, to even things up, although it's jungler for support. Virizial's in trouble. The boulder was good from Aquarius, but it's not good enough to find the kill. Meanwhile, Khaos will clean up Wowy on the backside. Stealth has to play so far back, he can't get a whole lot of damage off, and now Benji's pulled into an awkward position, but it's only really Stealth that can do any damage here towards Benji, and with that pestilence, but Panda, he gets picked off.
Panda getting stunned, just can't get out. 2 for 2, Noble able to bring that one back. They find the mid Phoenix, and it's going to force out eUnited to try to defend that Titan room. Virizial taking a lot of damage, overhead cook, not going to be enough to root from a distance. Wubbn.
Oh, he was well and truly cooked. They can't do the damage to this Phoenix, though, Tolly. They can't take the Phoenix. eUnited will hold the tier 1. So the Phoenix on the left-hand side. The middle one's still down for a while. But that was a nice hold from eUnited because the Fire Giant buff is literally about to wear off in a few seconds' time.
The Titan, though, look how much damage it took during that whole encounter. Sitting almost at 50% of its health here. Needs to find a way to defend this a little further. This is where eUnited need to start sentry warding their jungle very defensively. They can't allow Noble to cross that imaginary mid line for free.
Well, we're seeing the late game and the early game. There's a recap of Noble's squad at the bottom of the game. Stealth, 2,500 damage from one of his abilities here. Well, 2,500 damage from basics from Wowy. They're both making an impact here. They're both top of the damage charts. And eUnited are doing what they can. It's PandaCat that's behind. That's the big key here. PandaCat is just off the mark with the amount of damage he's doing. I guess it's down to the fact of his build more than anything else.
I just think that he can't get in the right place at the right time. Whenever you're getting bursted by Thoth and you have to retreat in these team fights immediately, it's just not making your DPS in full effect.
This build is great for one-on-one fights and fighting people to get the crits and kill them. If he went for a penetration option, though, his damage in the team fights from one heart bomb in a group situation is great. From the Fields of Love in a group situation is great. This is more of a single target. End somebody on his own.
He has penetration on Titan's Bane.
Sure.
He has attack speed from the Shogun's Kusari from PBM, so it makes sense in these teamfights as well. He just needs to be careful to not get hit by stealth to allow him to still maximize his damage. And not only that, Skeeledon has not made PandaCat's life any easier.
No, not at all. But neither has anybody on either team had an easy game so far. It's been a tussle between these two. Approaching 47 minutes now. The Portal Demon is flashing away, about to spawn. Fire Giant is already up. And eUnited just looking to take their jungle buffs. The extra speed, so important. The extra cooldown on someone like Mike, so important at this critical stage of the game.
Skeeledon having speed, so has Virizial. And these two junglers are looking for something. Khaos needs to defend this middle Phoenix, and this will allow Noble to get the Portal Demon for free.
Great play from Skeeledon just to recognize he can push that wave in, send somebody back, and eUnited have to forfeit the Portal Demon. This is a chance for Noble to be aggressive if they want to, and use the portal to come back into the fray.
That Fire Giant's melting, already less than half health. Stealth going to try to find it. Skeeledon confirms it.
And now with Khaos only just coming back to the fray, they're going to have to take on a Fire Giant team. The ultimate pop there from PolarBearMike, and now the charge is on again. Virizial ults in, but didn't find the target it was after. Now abducted by Wubbn. The damage onto Virizial isn't all that good. Wubbn took more of it. Skeely pounces in, gets some good poke off, and gets back out again. Noble still grouped together, and using that Fire Giant can start to push on once more.
Oh, the root not on the mark. Great wall placement from PBM, being able to dash on through, but Stealth finds the stun through the wall, gonna allow everyone from eUnited to still retreat for the moment.
Dashing in his Stealth, look for the stun on Benji, but just off the mark means Benji will get escape with his life for a second. Did force his ultimate though, which means this middle Phoenix is free for Noble. I don't think eUnited could really defend this, even if they used the Fields of Love from PandaCat. I don't think it's worthwhile. Give it up.
No, not at all. It's just not worth trying to go for it. These two side lane Phoenixes is the next point of contention for Noble, so you might as well save your important cooldowns for that opportunity. With the mid Phoenix respawning, it sits at 50% health at a static rate. That is not going up or down until Noble take that out anyway, so you might as well get the keep the more resilient Phoenixes alive.
Definitely a nice window for Noble here, though, because what they ended up doing, well, sorry, for eUnited, I should say, because Noble ended up basing. Skeeledon wanted to go back to base here, so Noble fall back as a 4-man unit and go, okay, I guess we'll strip their jungle on the left-hand side and take the Gold Fury. And that's the key at 48, 49 minutes into a game, totally. What ends up happening is one mistake will cost you the game. You lose one team fight heavily, there's no one to defend, and the amount of damage involved in this game and the survivability of the characters now means that Titan is pretty much a sitting duck.
And eUnited have to be aware on all fronts here. They have to look in the backline to see, like, hey, where is Stealth going? Where is that Final Judgment coming from? And then they have to make sure that they have vision behind the walls, because Skeeledon is looking for that pounce opportunity. That last team fight, he pounces in, his 3 people pounces back so they can't do anything about it. And as a result, that one ability just chunks all the squishies out of eUnited.
Well, it took 49 minutes to see a bit of split push going on here. Skeeledon's on the right-hand side, pushing the minions in towards the Phoenix. The rest of Noble all grouped on the left-hand side. Fire Giants on them for a good couple of minutes. Still, sorry, to tell a lie, about a minute and a half, roughly, left for Noble to use his Fire Giant. Skeeledon, though, on the right is getting that Phoenix on his own, and Virizio can't bring him down. Abducts on Mike, puts him in a bit of an awkward position, but that won't be go time for Noble just yet. Benji committed heavily as Khaos gets heavily poked out, running away from Stealth, who's looking for the kill. Can he find the kill?
He wants it so bad. He got it through the wall. It's going to be a 5-on-4 for the moment. Khaos is going to be dead for quite a long time. Suns are raining down here on the left.
The tanks to the front side for eUnited are solid, but not solid enough to slow down Noble anymore. Wowy dives in, feels a love down from PandaCat, but everybody escapes once again from Noble. And now it's Panda surrounded, looks for the dash back to safety, walks in towards Stealth, who was waiting with a dash to pick him up. Noble should close this game here and now.
The first game going in the way of Noble. They find their 3rd win so far in the split, and they are gaining some serious momentum.
That was a great set, though.
Oof. Spicy.
That was really good. Like, the back and forth throughout the game, I think eUnited, from my point of view, overextended a little bit too much now and again. They've tried to do the Bruise Brothers thing of Osiris Ravana, but they were just going too far forward every time.
That tier 1 tower siege during the solo lane, when constantly Noble kept going back and forth in that little encounter, just gave them a little bit more breathing room to be able to just push out eUnited and turn the tides of that team fight. And then Skeeledon making these rotations here in some of these team fights, he was always in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, and it was about his pressure from the backline more than anything else. Skeeledon likes playing those poke characters. That's what it feels like. He likes to be the assassin in the back who's always hidden away, turns up, looks to pick off a target and get out again, or just cause confusion in the ranks. And he does it pretty well when he's playing Bastet.
Whether it's Susanoo or the Bastet, Skeeledon has a wide variety of a god pool, playing Chang'e from time to time even. When we saw him during Oxygen Supremacy in that Gauntlet run, I think the first 4 to 5 games of that run were all played in an all different god.
But he plays his low-key Bastet and Susanoo played very, very similarly. He likes to sit in the jungle, try and get around the back, pick off low health targets, and he actually allows people like Wowy and Stealth just to sit there and get enough free damage the whole time.
That's true. Wowy in the backline, along with Stealth, did so much work here with all the room that they had. This was an opportunity where eUnited just dove a little bit too far forward.
Every time.
Under that Phoenix, every single time, they just wanted to really utilize this Osiris Ravana Death Ball combination to dive the backline, but then eventually it started just not working out here. The damage from Noble started taking into effect.
When you look back at that game tape, though, and you look how deep eUnited were going in this game, and I've brought up a couple of times now, because the tier 2 towers were still standing, and they were diving between tier 2s and the Phoenix, looking for kills. Risky. It's rewarding if you find it, but being that deep, you can get punished for it, and that's what Noble did.
Somebody just needs to peel back those frontliners between Benji and Virizio. It's always good to find people that's willing to sacrifice their life like that, but if you're not going to be utilizing your team composition in terms of finding poke, fall back, sustain off of the Terra and the Cupid, then what's the point of even picking the Terra or the Cupid?
Okay.